Hey folks, we are back at the slopes. Zero snow by now, but well, it's time for another episode of Skapa Alt, aka helping Devin get outside of the house because he's such a workaholic that he needs an excuse to take a little stroll in the forest right across the street. Yeah, I'm documenting it, so now it's work. This is a business trip. We can get a much better look at the rocks now, this beautiful red material. Look how well they match this bark. The color coordination in Sweden runs deep. That's beautiful. Well, a minute into my trek and I'm just looking at rocks, so clearly it's a way to go before I'm tired of this place. Alas, I do have a task for myself today. I want to find a nice stick for propping up my monstera plant in the house. So I need something that looks good and seems free of mold or anything that could cause problems for my house plants. The first time we came to this area, we walked down this path and towards the ocean. Today, I want to take a little trip into the forest area. I haven't been, so I want to see what it has to offer. Hopefully find another nice tree to climb. Ooh, someone's been busy here. A nice little shelter. Pretty solid. Might have to bring a tarp and do some camping. Check this out, a broken branch that forms a perfect heart. How neat is that? I'm sure there's a message in there. Okay, I've only been here a short time, but this feels Swedish AS. We've got boats lined up, nice little creek, a farmer riding around in his tractor, and we've got some lovely summer homes, little cottages. Look at that, we've got even English guides. Okay, this is cool. I knew there was a pilgrimage in the area, but I didn't realize that it's nearly 30 kilometers long. So it's really a solid trek. Seems absolutely lovely. All right, gotta add this pilgrimage to my bucket list, especially since it starts at my doorstep, more or less. So this trail is really well maintained. Someone's trimming all the branches around the area. Look at this beautiful birch. Oh, it spooked me out. It's probably a bit too large, but it is a beautiful stick. Look at all the colors hidden in there. I also love these ghost leaves. Oops. Those are so cool. I don't know if you can hear the ice cream truck going in the background, but it's a pretty funny contrast to the wilderness. Ooh, what is this? Must be some old farm equipment. Whoa. Is this woodpecker work or is this man-made? Look at these tiny little spores. So cute. Huh. This is a pretty interesting view of a tree that you don't get too often. Someone help me identify this body part. Oh yeah. It's so thin. Beautiful. Well, this isn't exactly gonna prop up my monstera plant, but it's such a beautiful little form. But also look at the area it came from. These are just damp leaves tracing out some hibernating streams. No flowing water, but lots of paths still traced out through this field. And the microcosms are just as cool. Look at all these different moss right here. The closer you look, the more there is going on, huh? Ooh, look at these bulby boys. All right, I like you, mushrooms. I'm gonna help you release your spores. Now I'll probably have a deathly allergy attack, but I did it for nature. Okay, I'm not totally confident it would be wise to bring this into my houseplant environment. I shall leave it in this beautiful area for now. There you go. Okay, as suggested for collecting moss, I'm just gonna take a small patch from an unsightly area. I'm just gonna place this on my rocks and see if it survives a bit. See what happens. All right, there we go. Definitely a little more sightly than the roof moss here, but we'll see how that looks in a little while. It does look like it's gonna rain any minute, so that could be good. So I didn't collect a twig out there, but to be honest, even that was an excuse to get out because there's plenty of really good sticks just laying on the ground right in front of my house. I think some of these will definitely do. Okay, my monstera, my branch. There we go. I don't know if there are too many rules for setting this up, but I think this is a nice cascade of leaves. I just used a cable organizer I had, quite gently wrapped around some of the main stems. So hopefully that helps this thing grow upward and onward. Well, it was sunny 2 days ago. Yesterday it rained a little. And today we've got this. So I'm starting to understand this bipolar spring they talk about here in Sweden. Despite the warnings, the changes in weather really surprised me through April. We had sun, rain, wind, snow, hail, and fog all over the course of a week. So that was an adventure, but as May came around, it became quite warm and pleasant, and that's also nice. I've been loving all the wildflowers popping up on my lawn day by day. It's like a natural advent calendar welcoming the spring. But I also don't want to get any of those famous passive-aggressive notes from my neighbors, so let's do some yard work. If you want to know how much of a hoarder I am, I had a hard time even throwing these twigs out. So I started making a nest. I guess I've got a bit of a bird brain. I also tended to my ivy wall before it takes over my whole house, and the same goes for the moss on my roof. It didn't fill the gutters as much as I feared, but I still collected a lot, so it was worth it. Plus I get to keep decorating my rock pile. You know, the one I didn't want to keep in the first place. But I guess it's just become another one of my bird-like compulsions. And it is showing signs of life now, so it's starting to grow on me a little. Baby snail. I also cleaned up the outdoor furniture I inherited. The weather's finally nice enough to set that out. Then some scrubbing of the poop deck, fixing a squeaky door. Oh, there we go. Putting up some curtains so I finally have a bit of privacy. Things like that. Thankfully, the lawnmower that came with the house also still works, so I took care of the front lawn, but I still protected some of the prettier patches. I just couldn't bear mowing down the home of these beautiful crab spiders. All right, mission accomplished. And I gotta say, even mowing a lawn becomes more fun when it's your own lawn. That said, I did still feel kind of bad seeing all the bees and butterflies having to scatter out of the way as I destroyed their lovely flowers. So thankfully, with the permission of my next door neighbor, I was able to leave the back side of my lawn growing so I can still enjoy some of those wild flowers and the critters can keep some home. But the mowed lawn also looks nice. I'll accept that. Hey, welcome back to my present day. We're nearing the end of May now, and I've got to apologize for taking so long between these skapa alt videos. Apparently, I've got zero immunity to these Swedish germs because I have been getting sick constantly since getting here. Most recently, I was sick for like 4 weeks straight, sore throat, headache, tired all the time. So it's been rough to get any work done, let alone these skapa alt videos, which are pretty much just for fun. But the great news is I'm finally feeling good again, and it is a really nice day out. It's nearly 26 degrees out here. I'm already breaking a bit of a sweat, but it's a nice change of pace. The spring, becoming summer now, is as beautiful as I've been promised, and I'm loving it. Even the smell of spring is amazing despite my allergies. I alla fall, I've decided that today I'm gonna talk about my Sweden bucket list. My greatest dreams, plans, ambitions for my journey here in Sweden. Now, of course, there's all the general things that I've been talking about. Peace, freedom, adventure. Those are definitely things I'm seeking out here, but I want to talk about specific, actionable things that I'm looking forward to doing and trying while I'm here in Sweden. Now, this list is far from done. In fact, it's just coming together, but I figured I need to make this video sooner rather than later because I've already started ticking off some boxes. Arguably, one of the biggest items on my list was simply moving to Sweden, buying a house. Those are two really big things that I've already done, and so far, I couldn't be happier. The next item on my list is pretty much the reason I have to present my bucket list now, and it's something that I did not expect to happen so soon. I'm famous. Yeah, that's me in the Barometern. This is one of Kalmar's largest local papers, and yes, one of my bucket list items before this even happened was to get into the local newspaper some way or another. And to be honest, I thought I'd have to do something crazy. I thought it would be one of my big projects that would get me a spot in the paper, but as it turns out, it was crazy enough for me to just move here to Kolboda. The writer of this article is Ia Selleberg, and she found me through this channel and then on Instagram and reached out and wanted to talk about my decision to come here and live in Sweden. Ia and her photographer, Joanna Eriksson, both came out and visited my home here all the way back at the end of March, and we talked about my ambitions and a lot of the things that I talk about here on this channel. And it was a blast. I got this lovely article. They wrote only nice things about me, and I did not expect this big full-page photograph, but hey, they caught me in a good angle. So that's obviously super awesome, and what a welcome here to Sweden. I've already had neighbors reach out and tell me they've seen the paper. My sister, who works in another town, also has colleagues who brought it up, so people definitely still read the newspapers out here, and I did not expect the level of exposure that I got. It was really pretty cool. I do still want to get in the paper again for one of my more crazy ventures, but that is another tick on my bucket list. All right, this next one is probably one of the most popular bucket list items, something that just about everyone wants to experience, and that is to witness the Northern Lights, Aurora Borealis, in person. And many of you watching this know that just last week was a historic time for the Northern Lights. There was one of the largest geomagnetic storms in over 20 years. The lights were visible all the way back home in California. And yet, I completely missed it. I'd gone on a run that day and I was so tired that I fell asleep before news of the Aurora Borealis even hit my Instagram feed. So I slept through that Friday, and that was the best night to see it. The following 2 days, there was still a chance of witnessing the lights, and I did everything I could. I woke up every couple of hours throughout the night. I barely got any sleep. I hiked out to the darkest nearby area. I took super long exposure photographs. No luck. the northern lights escaped me when just about everyone else got to see them. So, real happy for you guys. Yeah, it was a bummer, definitely, but I'm also not too disappointed because, for one thing, the lights weren't so spectacular to the naked eye. I want to see proper Arctic northern lights where it's going crazy and you can see it without the need of a special low light camera or anything like that. And that also brings me to one of my next items, which is to visit the very northern area of Sweden. Sweden is a very long country, so it's a long way up to the north of Sweden, and the environment changes a whole lot up there. Nature, being one of the main reasons I came to Sweden, means that I definitely have to visit up north there and experience all the different ecosystems that this place has to offer. So hopefully I can arrange some kind of trip up to northern Sweden, witness the northern lights, witness the beautiful nature. There's a lot I want to do up there, and I've already gotten some really great suggestions for beautiful national parks and areas to visit here in Sweden to appreciate the nature. A lot of you out there are experts in this field, so definitely leave more comments. What are the must-see places that I should visit anywhere in Sweden? Another bucket list item that I might be able to accomplish up north is to ice skate on a big open frozen lake. Just the idea of an endless sheet of ice and being able to just freely skate around on that ice, that sounds like a dream come true. And it's probably better to do that up north, where there's a very thick sheet of ice to make sure I don't end up under the water. Speaking of nature, I took a wonderful canoe trip with my svarbror a couple weeks ago. We took a canoe down one of the local rivers here in Ljungbyholm, and it was absolutely beautiful, right up until we tipped over and ended up in that freezing ice water. Oh yeah, that was quite a shock that we were not ready for. We got completely drenched in absolutely freezing water. Luckily, we weren't too far from home, so we jogged 1 or 2 kilometers, got a change of clothes, and the next day we had to go and rescue our canoe. That was quite the adventure, and I'm sorry I didn't document it more, but I'm sure there are plenty more adventures to come. And that goes straight into another one of my list items. I've been thinking about 3D printing my own kayak or building some kind of boat. So that'll definitely be one of my bucket list items. Build a boat, and maybe I'll upgrade it and say that I should paddle from the shore of Kolboda here all the way to Öland, which is like 9 kilometers away, maybe. That would be quite the epic adventure. Speaking of local adventures, I definitely think I need to trek the Östra Sigfridsleden, which is that pilgrimage that starts just across the street. It goes out and back through many different churches and historical sites. It's apparently a 30-kilometer loop, and I think I can do that in one go, whether it's 1 day or 2 days, maybe even 3 days. That seems like something that would definitely be fun and unique to this area. And that might also connect to another one of my list items, which is to spend the night in a wind shelter. We saw the nearest one during my first trek out in the area, and these wind shelters are scattered all throughout Sweden. They're basically little wooden huts where anyone is free to spend the night and take shelter. I recently stumbled upon this really cool collection of wind shelters, and they are some really cool and unique ones, so I might want to visit some of those specifically. They seem really fun. And while I'm spending the night in some of those wind shelters, another thing I'd like to try is to just live off of the land for a handful of days. Last summer, I picked blueberries here, and that was amazing. I can't wait for them to grow again. And just recently, me and my sister's family went out and we collected wild garlic, a whole lot of it. We made some garlic butter, had all sorts of garlicky meals. So there's plenty of tasty stuff growing wild out here in Sweden, and it would definitely be fun to see if I can scavenge and survive just using what's around me. I would say a week, but that's probably pretty tricky. One of the easier ones, but something I definitely want to do, is meet some wild hedgehogs. Apparently they're super common around here, so any day now, they'll start wandering around at night, and I've never met a real hedgehog in real life, and they seem super cute and fun, so I want to meet a hedgehog. That should be easier than my next item, which is to speak proper svenska. Jag vill lära mig att prata riktigt bra svenska så jag kan tala med alla folk ut i staden och de kan förstå mig också. I still have work to do, but I am taking SFI classes, and yeah, definitely it's still hard for me to understand people, and it's very hard for them to understand me. So that's a goal, that's a goal. Another goal of mine is to create a public sculpture or artwork. That's something I've wanted to do anywhere, so why not here in Sweden? I think it would be awesome to create some large piece of art that anyone can just go out and visit, maybe hidden in the wild somewhere. I'm gonna have to look into what goes into bidding on something like that and proposing some kind of public artwork like that. If you know anything about it, let me know in the comments. That would be super cool. And somewhat related is the idea of opening a boutique, either in the unit next door to me or even in this little shed I've got down here. I really love the fact that people in Sweden are generally respectful enough that they can just enter a shop and they're trusted to pay for the things they take. I don't need to be keeping a watchful eye over it every moment of the day. Well, yeah, I didn't think I had a long list yet, but that's already quite a few things. But definitely let me know in the comments if you are from Sweden or you just have any ideas for amazing things that I have to experience while I'm out here. I've definitely already started getting those kinds of suggestions in my other videos, but this is the specific bucket list video. So what are your Sweden bucket list items that I should also consider? Oh wait, there is one more, and this is a big one. My final bucket list item for the day is to go to Swedish prison. Now, I'd like to consider myself a pacifist. I don't want to cause anybody harm, but, well, I've heard good things about Swedish prisons. I heard they're actually quite nice and comfortable. They rehabilitate people. So yeah, definitely let me know in the comments if you have any fun or silly ways that I could land myself in Swedish prison without causing anyone harm and without getting deported. I mean, it would make for a great vlog here on Skapa Alt, would it not? I'll make that one optional. Let's just say if I die without going to Swedish prison, I can still say I died happily. All right, that's gonna be it for this video. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'm glad you still came back and watched after so many weeks of absence from me. I'm gonna try to do more videos more often, but we'll see. That's it for today. Thanks so much for watching. Tack så jättemycket. Ha en bra dag och vi ses.